Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Deanin It Yourself. Today's video, I got a garage door. My garage door isn't working at home. It's not closing. It opens sometimes and sometimes it won't close. Whether using the keypad here or I'm using the remote clicker from my car, it just doesn't close. So I'm going to walk you guys through it. If you guys have a similar situation, I'm going to show you guys exactly how you can fix it. Stay tuned to the video and I'll show you guys how to do it. To troubleshoot this issue that we're having with the garage, I'm going to take you through 3 steps. And if you follow these 3 steps, you should be able to troubleshoot most of the problems that you have with your garage door if it's not opening. The first step is we're going to always start with the easiest, which is our remotes. We're going to check the batteries and make sure that they're actually working. The second step is we're going to check our sensors, our door sensors. Sometimes they become misaligned, and that may also cause issues with the garage door opening or closing or not opening or closing properly. And then the final step would be to check the logic board or change the board for the motor, which is going to be our final step. It's going to be our most expensive step, but I'm going to walk you through the process of changing it, and if it comes to that. And after that, that's it. There is actually one more thing we can check. We can check the actual button, the manual button for your garage. In some cases, you may have one. Some older systems use this where it's actually a physical button inside the garage to manually open and close the garage door. So once we've checked all of those, we should be able to figure out the solution and find out what the problem was that's causing the garage door to not work properly. All right, the first thing, let's check the batteries. If you have a keypad like this, the battery compartment is at the base right here. It should be held in by a screw. Just remove the screw and remove the cover. You should have access to the battery compartment. These are usually 9-volt batteries. Just replace the battery. All right, now you can test the garage door. If it works, then you solve the problem. Now you may also have a garage door opener like this. If you do, the batteries are located on the inside. To access them, sometimes they're hidden. There's a screw hidden behind this clip here. You can go ahead, pull the clip out. In this case, there is no screw. So what we're going to do is we need to open this up. If you look around, there's some tabs on the outside of the case where you can put a small screwdriver. As you can see here, put it in and you just pry it open to access the inside of the case. All right. Once you have it open, you can look inside. There's a battery here. You should be able to pick one of these up at your local pharmacy or supermarket. Just look at the number on the battery and you can either order it on Amazon or see if you can pick one up. And pull it out, replace the battery, and then test it out. Once you're done and you replaced it, you can go ahead and squeeze it back together and test out your clicker. Hopefully it's the battery, but in my case it isn't, so we're going to go and troubleshoot some of the other sources. Alright, let's go ahead and check the sensors now. That's probably the last step before we have to get into a detailed fix. So what we'll do is, on the bottom right and left side of your garage door, you're going to see 2 sensors, one on this side. This is on the right side if you're inside the garage door looking out, and there's another one on the opposite side. What you want to do is make sure that these 2 lasers are clean. The lens here is clean on both of them and that they're aligned. Now, in this case, mine look fairly clean, but if they're not, just use a cloth and wipe off the lens. And what we want to do is check alignment. Now, the first thing we want to do, notice these things are held by wing nuts here. If you loosen this wing nut, you can adjust it. So what we'll do is we'll find out first which one is the sending and which one is the receiving. And in order to do that, all you do is look at the light here and pass your hand in front of the lens like this. If the light goes off, then that's your receiver. If the light stays on, then that's your sending unit. So what we'll do is we'll adjust the sending unit so that it's pretty much horizontal, and then we'll go over and check to see if the receiving unit is lit. And you'll know if it's out of alignment if you look at it and the sending unit has a light and the receiving one doesn't. And what you do is you loosen the wing nut and you adjust it until you get that light. And then you just tighten down the wing nut to make sure that it's tight. And as you can see here, it's pretty much aligned and it's working well. And what we do now is we try to close the garage door. If the garage door still doesn't close, then we're going to jump to the next step. Next, you want to check to see what type of button you guys have for it to open your garage door. If you guys have this button type, then you can go ahead and skip this, because obviously when I press the button you can hear the garage door close. So the button works. But if you have one of the other types where it has a lock button on it, then you need to press that button to basically unlock it. What it does is it locks it so that you don't have it blocks any signals from reaching to the motor, any wireless signals. So that could be another problem. So if you have this button, check that as well and see if that solves the problem. So let's go over this real quick. We changed the battery in our clickers and in our wireless keypad. We checked the alignment on our sensors. We checked our garage door button to make sure that it wasn't in the lock position if we had one of those. And those are pretty much all the steps that you're going to take that are going to be least invasive and pretty easy to do. So since I did all of that and none of those still work, it makes me believe that there's a problem with the logic board or the receiver in the logic board. So my last step is I'm going to replace the logic board. If you guys don't want to do that, you can always call If you guys don't want to do that, you can always call a garage door repair person, have them come out, and I'm sure they're going to either sell you a new garage door opener, or if they have a board in stock, they'll go ahead and replace the board for you. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go over the steps of replacing the board, or if it is possible, I'm not sure yet, I haven't taken it apart, is to replace just the wireless receiver on the board. All right. If you guys found this helpful, again, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and let's go ahead and take a look at the board and see if we can replace it and get this garage door working again. Okay guys, now that we've checked the batteries in our remote and we've tried to check the sensors on the doors, we realize none of those work. The door is still not closing. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and replace the circuit board. Now, before we begin, we're going to go ahead and disconnect the power. It's usually plugged into the ceiling. You can go ahead and disconnect this. And what I did was I Googled this model number here, did a little Google search and found an exact replacement. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove this circuit board and replace it with a replacement circuit board. Now the circuit board is held in place by screws here. You can see them here. Also, there's some wires that are connected. What I did was I made a note. You can see here, I just put a piece of tape here, here, and here, and labeled each point, and then put a piece of tape on each wire so that when I remove the wires, I can go ahead and put them back in the correct order. So let's go ahead and remove our wires. Now we can go ahead and loosen the screws that are holding the circuit board in place. Okay, now our screws are removed. We can go ahead and tilt the circuit board forward. You guys can't see it in here, but there's some wires in here that are plugged into connected to the circuit board. I'm just going to reach in and disconnect it, and I'll show you what the connector looks like. And here you have it. This is what the plug looks like. And all you need to do is basically just pull up on it and it will disconnect from the circuit board. As you can see here, the pin plugs into this location here. So this is what our old circuit board looks like. I'm going to go ahead and take it off and replace it with the new one. So once you have the new circuit board, we can go ahead, first things first, we're going to go ahead and plug it back in. Once it's plugged in, you are done. And you can go ahead and put the clips back on to secure the wires. With that done, we're all plugged in. The only thing left to do now is to put our screws back in and then connect our wires. With our screws back in place, now we can go ahead and connect the wires here, plug it back in, and we should be ready to go ahead and test the garage door. Hey guys, welcome back. I guess we got everything working now and we went through the troubleshooting of the garage door. So remember, if you guys have a garage door that's not closing or it's not opening, these are the steps we're going to take just like we did before. We started with troubleshooting our garage door opener, changing the batteries. Then we went to aligning the sensors, the door sensors. And last but not least, we ended up changing out the circuit board in the motor. In this case, it was the motor that was bad. Once we changed out the motor, we put it back in. Once we changed out the motor, once we changed out the circuit board and we put in a new circuit board, the garage door opened and closed just like it did when it was new. So here I'm going to show you guys right now. We can put in our code and you hear the garage door closing behind me. Now it's back open. So if you guys have the same issue, you can follow these instructions, troubleshoot the garage door and get it working again. Now, just a side note, if you do change the circuit board, a lot of times the frequency may be different than the one you had before. So you're going to have to reprogram your remotes. In this case, I had to reprogram this. If you have seen my other video, I go through the programming instructions for this model. So if you haven't seen it, click on the link below, or there might be a pop-up somewhere around here where you guys can take a look at programming your remote. All right, once again, guys, thank you. I hope this was helpful to you guys. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.